Get out of my house, you infertile tree. Beauty? No. Good shape?
No.
Now simple child? No too.
Ozioma stood there, her hands shaking, tears falling like rain on dry ground. The sound of the beautiful woman's laughter triggered the pain more. But what Nnamdi didn't know, what he would soon discover in the most shocking way, was that this new woman would teach him a lesson he would never, ever forget. Stay till the end. You won't believe what happened next. Welcome to African Stories by Priceless. Subscribe to enjoy more African stories with life lessons. Let me take you back. Back to when Ozioma's story began. 6 years ago, Ozioma was the most beautiful girl in Umui's village. Her skin glowed like fresh palm oil. Her smile could light up the darkest room. Young men would line up outside her father's compound just to catch a glimpse of her. But Ozioma only had eyes for one man. Nnamdi. Nnamdi was tall and handsome, with a smile that made promises. He worked as a driver for rich people in the city. He wore shiny shoes and spoke big English. When he asked Ozioma to marry him, she didn't think twice. "Papa, I love him," she told her father. Her father shook his head slowly. "My daughter, that man's eyes are not clean. I see something dark in him. Please, choose someone else." Her mother held her hands tight. "Ozioma, listen to your father. We are not against your happiness. But that Nnamdi, there are stories about him. Bad stories. He treats people like rubbish when they can no longer do things for him." But Ozioma was young. She thought love could fix everything. "Mama, Papa, you don't know him like I do. He loves me. He will take care of me." So they got married. And for the first year, everything was sweet like honey. Then the second year came. No pregnancy. Third year. Still nothing. By the fourth year, Nnamdi had changed completely. The sweet man who used to bring her flowers had disappeared. In his place was a monster. "Ozioma, where is my food?" His voice would boom through their small house every evening. She would rush to serve him, her hands moving fast like a frightened mouse. But nothing she did was ever good enough. "This soup is too salty. Are you trying to poison me? Or this soup is too watery. What kind of woman are you?" The worst part wasn't the insults at home. No. The worst part was what he did in public. One Saturday afternoon, at Eek Market, Ozioma was buying tomatoes. The market was full of people, noise everywhere, children running, women haggling, the smell of fresh fish and ripe plantains in the air. Suddenly, Nnamdi's voice cut through the noise like a machete. "Everybody, come and see. Come and see the woman who is eating my money for nothing. 6 years of marriage, not even one small child to show for it." The whole market went silent. All eyes turned to Ozioma. The basket of tomatoes fell from her hands, scattering on the ground like red tears. "Please," she whispered, but her voice was too small. "Please what?" Nnamdi moved closer to her, his face twisted with anger. "Should I please continue feeding you? Please continue clothing you? For what? You are like a farm that produces no crops." An older woman tried to intervene. "Nnamdi, this is not right. Marriage problems should stay at home." "Shut up." Nnamdi roared. "Did I marry your daughter? When she gives me a child, then you can talk." Ozioma ran. She ran all the way home, her feet hitting the ground hard, dust flying up behind her, her chest burning, tears blinding her eyes. Behind her, she could hear the whispers starting, spreading through the market like wildfire. That night, she didn't eat. She couldn't. Shame had filled her stomach. The mockery didn't stop there. It got worse. Every Sunday at church, Nnamdi would sit far away from Ozioma. When the pastor asked couples to stand together for prayer, Nnamdi would remain seated, arms folded, face dark as a thundercloud. "Why should I stand with her?" he would mutter loud enough for people nearby to hear. "Is she really a wife? A wife who cannot produce children?" Ozioma would stand alone, her head bowed, tears dropping onto her Bible. The pages had become wrinkled from all the tears that had fallen on them over the months. Women in the church would pat her shoulder as they passed. Some would whisper, "Sorry, my sister." But their pity hurt more than Nnamdi's insults. Pity felt like a heavy blanket, suffocating her slowly. At home, things got even darker. Nnamdi stopped sleeping in their bedroom. He moved to the couch in the parlor. He stopped eating her food, saying it was cursed by her barren hands. He would order food from outside and eat it in front of her, while she sat in the kitchen, staring at the meal she had prepared that no one would touch. The worst nights were when he would drink. The smell of cheap gin would fill the house, sharp and burning. He would stumble around, throwing things, shouting about how she had ruined his life. My friends mock me, he would yell. They ask me, Nnamdi, when are you bringing your children to visit? What should I tell them? That I married a broken woman? Ozioma tried everything. She visited herbalists who gave her black soups that tasted like mud. She went to prayer houses where prophets poured oil on her head and shouted prayers until their voices went hoarse. She fasted until her ribs began to show through her clothes. But month after month, her womb stayed empty. And month after month, she became smaller. Not just in body, but in spirit. The light in her eyes dimmed. The glow in her skin faded. Her back began to bend like an old woman's, even though she was only 30 years old. She stopped going to the market. She stopped going to church. She stayed home, cooking and cleaning for a man who treated her like dirt. Her mother would visit sometimes, tears in her eyes. My daughter, leave that house. Come back home. This is not marriage. This is suffering. But Ozioma would shake her head. Mama, I cannot bring shame to our family. What will people say? That I am a woman who runs away from her marriage? Better to run from suffering than to die in it, her mother would reply. But Ozioma stayed. She stayed because she still hoped. Hoped that maybe, just maybe, if she tried harder, if she prayed harder, if she loved harder, things would change. She was wrong. Then one evening, everything changed. Ozioma was in the kitchen, stirring a pot of jollof rice. The aroma filled the air, mixing with the smell of fried plantains. She was humming quietly, a sad song her grandmother used to sing. She heard the door open. Nnamdi was home early. Strange. He usually came home late these days, smelling of alcohol and other women's perfume. Ozioma. His voice was different. Excited. Happy even. She wiped her hands on her wrapper and came out of the kitchen. What she saw made her blood run cold. Nnamdi was not alone. Behind him stood a woman. A woman who looked like she had walked out of a magazine. Her body was curved in all the right places, squeezed into a red dress that left little to the imagination. Her face was painted with makeup, her lips bright red like fresh pepper. Her perfume was so strong it made Ozioma's nose wrinkle. But something was off about this woman. Her beauty was there, yes, but it felt wrong somehow. Like fruit that looks perfect on the outside but is rotten inside. Ozioma, meet Glory, Nnamdi said, his hand resting on the woman's waist. She is my new wife. She will be staying here with us. The words hit Ozioma like a slap. What? You heard me. Nnamdi's face was hard now, no more excitement. Since you cannot give me children, I have found someone who can. Glory comes from a family of many children. Her mother had 12. 12. That is the kind of woman a real man needs. Glory stepped forward, her high heels clicking on the floor. She looked Ozioma up and down, her lip curling in disgust. So this is the one? No wonder. Oh. See how she looks. Dry like cassava flakes. How can a woman like this carry a child? She laughed, and Nnamdi laughed with her. Their laughter bounced off the walls, filling the house with cruel music. Now listen well, Nnamdi announced, pulling Glory closer. From today, things will change in this house. Glory is the senior wife now. Ozioma, you will serve her. You will wash her clothes, cook her food, clean her room. You understand? Ozioma opened her mouth to speak, but no words came out. Her throat was closed, choked with pain and shock. I said, do you understand? Nnamdi roared. Yes, she whispered, her voice breaking like thin glass. Good. Now go and prepare the bedroom for us. Put fresh sheets. My wife needs to rest. He said my wife while looking at Glory, as if Ozioma had never been his wife at all. That night, Ozioma slept in the small room near the kitchen, the room they used to store old things and rats. She could hear Nnamdi and Glory laughing in the bedroom. Her bedroom. Her bed. She curled up on a thin mat on the cold floor and cried until no more tears would come. And even then, dry sobs shook her body like a leaf in the wind. If Ozioma thought things were bad before, she was not prepared for what came next. Glory was not just beautiful. Glory was wicked. Wicked in ways that made even Nnamdi look like a saint. Every morning, Glory would wake up late, around 10 or 11 o'clock. But she expected her breakfast to be ready and waiting. Fresh akara, pap, and fruit. Ozioma, where is my food? She would shout from the bedroom. Do you want me to die of hunger? Ozioma would rush to serve her. But Glory would always find something wrong. This akara is too hard. Did you use your foot to fry it? Or this pap is too cold. Do you think I am a corpse that eats cold food? She would pour the food on the floor, right there in front of Ozioma. Clean it up. And make fresh food. Sharp sharp. But the food was just the beginning. Glory never bathed properly. She would spray herself with expensive perfume, yes, but underneath the perfume was the smell of unwashed body. Sour and sharp like spoiled milk. But because she was beautiful, Nnamdi didn't seem to notice. Or maybe he didn't care. Glory's room became a disaster. Clothes everywhere, thrown on the floor, on the bed, hanging from chairs. Plates of half-eaten food left to attract flies. The smell was terrible, like a dustbin that hadn't been emptied in weeks. Ozioma, come and clean this room. Glory would order. And Ozioma would clean. She would gather the dirty clothes, wash them by hand because Glory wore delicate fabrics that couldn't go in the machine. She would scrub the floors, change the sheets, pick up plates with dried food stuck to them. Her hands became rough and cracked. Her back ached from bending and scrubbing. But she did it all in silence because what choice did she have? The worst part was watching Nnamdi with Glory. The way he looked at her with stars in his eyes. The way he bought her expensive things, shoes, bags, jewelry. The way he laughed at her jokes, even when they weren't funny. He had never looked at Ozioma like that. Not even in the beginning. One evening, Glory decided she wanted pepper soup. Not just any pepper soup. She wanted catfish pepper soup with a special spice that only grew in the next village, 30 minutes away by foot. Nnamdi, send your house help to go and buy it, Glory said, waving her hand lazily. She had started calling Ozioma house help instead of using her name. Did you hear her? Nnamdi barked at Ozioma. Go and get it. Now. It was already 7 in the evening. The sun was going down. The road to the next village was dark and dangerous at night. But Ozioma took the money and left. She walked fast, her wrapper flapping around her legs, her feet bare because her only slippers had broken last week and Nnamdi refused to buy her new ones. The darkness wrapped around her like a blanket. Strange sounds came from the bushes, night birds calling, animals moving through the grass. When she finally got the spice and came back home, it was past 9 o'clock. Her feet were bleeding from stepping on stones. Her body shook with tiredness. Glory looked at the spice, sniffed it, and threw it in Ozioma's face. Too late. I don't want it anymore. I already ate bread. Nnamdi said nothing. He just looked away, as if Ozioma wasn't even there. That night, Ozioma lay on her mat in the tiny room and asked God a question. Why? Why am I still here? What am I being punished for? But heaven was silent. 3 months passed like this. 3 months of slavery, of humiliation, of pain that cut deeper than any knife. Then, slowly, things began to change. But not in the way anyone expected. Glory started getting sick in the mornings. She would rush to the toilet and vomit, the sound echoing through the house. Nnamdi's face lit up like a lamp. She is pregnant, he announced to anyone who would listen. Glory is carrying my child. After all these wasted years with that useless Ozioma, finally, I will be a father. He threw a small party. His friends came over, drinking and laughing, celebrating his coming fatherhood. They ignored Ozioma completely, as if she was a ghost walking among them. But Ozioma noticed something the others didn't. Glory's sickness didn't look like normal pregnancy sickness. Her eyes had a yellow tint. Her skin looked grey under all that makeup. And the smell, oh God, the smell coming from her was getting worse every day. One afternoon, when Nnamdi was at work, Ozioma went to Glory's room with fresh water. She found Glory lying in bed, barely able to move. Sweat poured down her face, washing away the makeup, revealing her real skin underneath. And what Ozioma saw made her gasp. Glory's skin was covered in sores. Red, angry sores that wept yellow liquid. Her beautiful face was swollen and lumpy. Her hair, which she always kept perfect, was falling out in clumps on the pillow. Water, Glory croaked, her voice barely a whisper. Despite everything, Ozioma's heart softened. She helped Glory sit up and gave her water. Glory drank like someone who had been in the desert for days. "Thank you," Glory whispered. Then, to Ozioma's shock, tears began rolling down Glory's cheeks, leaving clean tracks through the dirt and makeup. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry." "Sorry for what?" "For everything. For how I treated you. For how I spoke to you. For..." Glory's body shook with sobs. "I'm not pregnant. I never was. I lied to keep Nnamdi. But now I'm sick. Very sick. And I'm scared." Before Ozioma could respond, they heard the door bang open. Nnamdi was home. "Glory, my beautiful wife. How is my baby today?" He rushed into the room, then stopped dead in his tracks. For the first time, he really saw Glory. Without the dim lighting, without the makeup covering everything, without the perfume hiding the smell. He saw the sores. He saw the swelling. He saw the patches where her hair had fallen out. He smelled the rot. His face twisted in horror. What is this?" "Nnamdi, I can explain," Glory started. But Nnamdi was already backing away, his hand over his nose and mouth. "Don't touch me. Don't come near me. What is wrong with you? What disease do you have?" "I don't know," Glory cried. "I've been sick for weeks, but I was afraid to tell you. I thought it would go away, but it's getting worse." Nnamdi turned to Ozioma, his eyes wild with panic. "Did you know about this? Did you see her like this before?" "I only just saw her today," Ozioma said quietly. "We have to take her to the hospital," Nnamdi said, but he didn't move forward to help Glory. Instead, he looked at Ozioma. You take her." At the hospital, the doctor examined Glory while Nnamdi paced outside like a trapped animal. Ozioma sat quietly, watching him. For the first time in years, she felt nothing. Not anger. Not sadness. Just emptiness. When the doctor came out, his face was serious. "Your wife has a severe infection. It appears she has been living in very unsanitary conditions, and a small cut on her foot became badly infected. The infection has spread throughout her body. We need to admit her immediately and start strong treatment." Will she be okay?" Nnamdi asked. "If we had caught this earlier, yes. But she waited too long. The next few days will tell." The doctor paused, then added, "Also, she's not pregnant. There is no baby." Nnamdi's face went white. "What? There is no pregnancy. There never was." Nnamdi stumbled backward like he had been punched. All his dreams, all his boasting, all his plans, built on a lie. Glory was admitted. The treatment was expensive. Nnamdi had to sell his car, the car he was so proud of, to pay the medical bills. His friends, the ones who had been celebrating with him, suddenly had no time for him when he asked for help. Every day, Ozioma went to the hospital to care for Glory. She cleaned her wounds, fed her when she was too weak to feed herself, changed her soiled sheets. The nurses would look at her with confusion. "Why are you doing this?" one nurse finally asked. "After how she treated you." Ozioma thought for a moment. "Because someone has to remember what it means to be human. If I become wicked like them, then what difference is there between us?" Slowly, very slowly, Glory began to recover. The sores started healing. Her hair began to grow back. And as her body healed, her character changed too. "I was so foolish," Glory told Ozioma one evening. "I thought beauty was everything. I thought if I looked good, I didn't need to be good. But look where it brought me. To this hospital bed, being cared for by the woman I treated like trash. We all make mistakes, Ozioma said softly. Not like mine. Glory shook her head. Your husband. Nnamdi, he only wanted me because of how I looked. He didn't care about who I was inside. And I didn't care either. I just wanted his money. We deserved each other. But you deserved so much better. When Glory was finally well enough to leave the hospital, she made an announcement. I'm going back to my mother's village, she told Nnamdi. This marriage was a mistake. We both know it. For once, Nnamdi didn't argue. He had no more energy to fight. The past months had aged him. Grey hair had appeared at his temples. Lines cut deep into his forehead. He looked like a man who had lost a war. After Glory left, Nnamdi and Ozioma were alone in the house. The silence was heavy, like wet sand. One evening, Nnamdi did something he had never done in all their years of marriage. He sat down at the kitchen table while Ozioma was cooking and began to cry. Real tears, not angry tears. Tears of regret. I destroyed everything, he said, his voice breaking. I destroyed you. I destroyed us. For what? For pride. For shame. For fear of what people would say? Ozioma kept stirring the pot. She didn't respond. I went to the hospital last week, Nnamdi continued. I had tests done. The doctor told me that I have a condition. I can't have children. I never could. It was me, Ozioma. All along, it was me. The spoon slipped from Ozioma's hand. She turned to look at him. All those years, Nnamdi's voice was barely a whisper now. All those years I blamed you. Called you names. Humiliated you. Broke your spirit. And it was my fault. Not yours. Mine. He fell to his knees on the kitchen floor. Can you ever forgive me? Can you ever? No. The word hung in the air like smoke. No. Nnamdi looked up, confused. No, I cannot forget what you did to me, Ozioma said, her voice steady and strong for the first time in years. You didn't just hurt my body, Nnamdi. You killed my spirit. You made me feel worthless. You turned me into a shadow of who I was. And I let you, because I thought that was what love meant. Suffering in silence. Enduring pain. But I was wrong. She took off her wedding ring and placed it on the table. The small gold band made a tiny sound as it hit the wood. I forgive you, Nnamdi. Not because you deserve it, but because I deserve peace. But forgiveness doesn't mean I will stay. I am leaving. I am going back to my parents. And I am going to find myself again. The Ozioma who existed before you tried to erase her. Please, Nnamdi begged. Don't go. I'll change. I'll be better. You had years to change, Ozioma said. You had years to be better. But you only want to change now because you've lost everything. I hope you become a better person, Nnamdi. I truly do. But I won't be here to see it. She walked to the small room that had been her prison for months, gathered her few belongings, and walked out of the house. This time, she didn't run. She didn't hide her face. She walked with her head held high, her back straight. The evening sun painted the sky orange and purple. Birds sang in the trees. The air smelled fresh, like rain was coming. And for the first time in 6 years, Ozioma smiled. A real smile. A free smile. 1 year passed. Ozioma went back to her parents' home. With their love and support, she began to heal. Slowly, like a flower opening after a long winter, she came back to life. She started a small business selling fabrics in the market. The same market where Nnamdi had once humiliated her. But now, when people saw her, they didn't see shame. They saw strength. That is Ozioma, they would say. The woman who survived. She never remarried. She didn't need to. She had learned something valuable. Her worth was not tied to having a husband or having children. Her worth was in being herself. Whole. Complete. Free. As for Nnamdi, he lived alone in his house, a house that was too big and too empty. Sometimes, people would see him in the village, walking slowly, his shoulders bent. He had become a cautionary tale. Parents would point at him and tell their children, "See that man? That's what happens when pride and cruelty rule your heart." And Glory? She went back to her village, changed her ways, and married a simple farmer who loved her for who she was, not how she looked. She named her first child Ozioma, in honor of the woman who had shown her kindness when she deserved none. Karma is real. But sometimes, karma is not about punishment. Sometimes, karma is about showing people who they truly are, and giving the broken a chance to become whole again. Moral of the story: you are not defined by what your body can or cannot do. You are not defined by what cruel people say about you. You are defined by the strength of your spirit, the kindness of your heart, and your courage to walk away from what hurts you. If this story touched your heart, if it made you cry, if it made you think, then please hit that like button right now. Share this video with someone who needs to hear this message. Someone who is suffering in silence. Someone who thinks their worth is tied to what others say about them. Subscribe for more powerful stories like this. Now, I want to hear from you. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think Ozioma was right to leave? Should she have given Nnamdi another chance? Have you or someone you know experienced something like this? Share your story. See you in my next video.